Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1479B, and today's date is January 23rd, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Hawaiian Alert Was Not a Drill. It was a planned event. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, there is a lot of information that is going to be hitting the airwaves very soon. I don't know how much the corporate media is going to pick this up, but we can see with the FISA memo, with the text that they found between Strzok and Page, and everything else, all the other investigations that are going on, there's going to be a lot of information coming out. We already see that Mueller is continually pushing his probe. He interviewed Sessions. He wants to interview Trump. And this is actually going nowhere. And he knows this. And he is scrambling right now to try to figure out what he can get on any of these individuals. And eventually what's going to happen, he's going to have absolutely nothing. Think about how long he's been at this. And the only thing that they can come up with is that Manafort lied to the FBI. That's it. I mean, Clinton, she lied to the entire country. But again, we can see that everything is going to start to fall apart, and we are starting to see this right now. Now, an unsealed Pfizer court document, it reveals Obama's FBI and Department of Justice illegally searched law-abiding Americans in a staggering 85% of the cases. Now, a FISA ruling unveiled a number of criminal misdeeds that the Obama administration participated in, and it really has received no publicity at all. Now, according to the report, Obama's FBI and Department of Justice performed searches on Americans that was against their Fourth Amendment right. This went on for years. One paragraph in the report states that 85% of the Section 704 and 705B FISA searches made during this time were non-compliant with applicable laws and therefore criminal. FISA 705 warrants deal with U.S. citizens outside the country. And when we look at this, we can say, yeah, this is something that needs to be brought up. The people of America need to know about this. And what we're seeing is that there's going to be investigations all over the place. In addition, the report cites that at the same time that Obama's Department of Justice and the FBI were illegally searching Americans against their rights, and unbeknownst to them, Obama's FBI was providing this information to outside contractors who had no business or legal cause or claim to this type of information. I mean, this is just unbelievable. Now, we know there's an investigation going on about Clinton's emails. They started this up again. They're looking into it. And we're seeing that there was, out of the pages between Page and Strzok, the texts that were sent back and forth, I should say, we see that there's some information in there about what was going on. An FBI agent who oversaw the Clinton email investigation claims higher-ups at the Bureau sent death threats to agents working on the case if they didn't exonerate Hillary in a timely manner. And this was in a series of text exchanges on July 1st, 2016. FBI lawyer Lisa Page told counterintelligence official Peter Strzok that then Attorney General Loretta Lynch knew the FBI planned to clear Clinton of all charges and that pressure to wrap up the probe would be issued to all agents working on the case. Now, there is more information coming out from the new batch of text messages between Strzok and Page saying that there was a secret society that was completely against Trump and they were working to undermine Trump. Now, we know this by just seeing how the corporate media reacts and how everyone else reacts. But the other thing that is very interesting about all this is that the FBI agent who investigated the Trump-Russia collusion claim sent a jaw-dropping text message suggesting that there was nothing to it. Now, who was that FBI agent? That was Peter Strzok. And what he wrote that he was saying in the text is that there was absolutely nothing there that had to do with Russian collusion. He pretty much admitted to it. And all of this is coming out right now. And what we are seeing is the first stages of the truth getting out there. Now, the corporate media, they're trying to, say, well, this really doesn't mean this, really doesn't mean that, and you really can't say there was a secret society. I see it in different places, and they are trying to basically cover all of this up, and it's going to be very, very difficult, because once more and more of this information comes out and they actually have more documentation that backs everything up, it's going to be very difficult. Remember, this is just the first stage to get the public used to what is going on, who's involved with this, and then they're going to bring in the major players. Now, what's very interesting is that Facebook, Google, and Twitter, they tried many different ways of taking down the alternative media, taking down those individuals that were not with the deep state, the cabal, with the corporate media. Anyone that was speaking out against them, YouTube tried to take down channels, Google tried to take down sites, they tried to push them down in the search order, they tried all these different things. Now they're going to be using AI, and they're going to be using what they call counter speech, that if someone is doing a search for any type of, economic collapse or deep state or cabal or anything else, most likely, it will redirect them to probably propaganda that is being pushed out by the corporate media, by the intelligence agencies. And it is a redirect method that they are using. And this is what they're trying to do, is force everyone to be redirected away from the alternative media. They don't want people listening to this, and they didn't realize how big the alternative media was going to be and how many people were going to listen. And now they can see it is very, very big. There's more and more individuals coming out, and more individuals creating channels, writing articles, looking into things, and they don't like this because it goes against everything they're trying to do. And remember, it's all about control. They want to control the flow of information, and they thought they had control. Since they control the media, they thought, we have control. Nobody can hear anything else except what we're putting out there, until the internet was born, and they didn't take that very seriously. And over time, it grew and it grew, and people started to speak to each other using social media, and they didn't expect this to happen. And we can see that they wished they probably shut this down right in the very beginning. We see out in Syria, we see Turkey is still pushing their agenda there. We see the U.S. is going to be talking to Turkey. Turkey is out there saying, listen, we expect the U.S. to back Turkey in Syria, not the terrorists. And we see that U.S. is going to be having a discussion over the Operation Olive Branch. And like I said, Turkey, Putin, United States, China, they are in there doing this on purpose. They're going after the cabal. They need to make it seem like Turkey just came in. They went into Syria because there was a buildup, and this is what the cabal was trying to do. They were trying to build this up to suck Turkey in, to try to get everything going once again. And they don't put out messages saying, oh yes, we're working together to get rid of the cabal. We're working together to get rid of the paid mercenaries. Because again, if that does happen, it tips off the cabal. They know what's going on, and they don't want this to happen. Remember, the cabal has a foothold in Syria. They have a lot of weapons. They have troops there that they've been training. They want to separate Iraq. They want to separate Syria. I mean, if we look, the Kurds in Iraq, they want to join with the Syrian Kurds to fight Turkey. And the reason why they want to do this is because the cabal is pushing them to make this move, because they want everyone involved once again. Remember, Erdogan is not going to go against Putin at this point. They made a deal with the Turkish Stream. They're going to make billions and billions of dollars. It's being completed. It's being built. And Erdogan knows this. Russia just sold Turkey their S-400 missile systems. Putin and Erdogan, they are working together. The U.S., China, and Russia and Turkey, this was all created to go after the cabal. And we see right now that Russia, they're deploying more units of the S-400 air defense system in Syria. One at the Tartus maritime facility. They have 2 air bases in Latakia that they're placing them, because they're going to protect their assets. And we see that all of this is happening at the same time. Now, what's very interesting is that we know the UK, they're pushing the Brexit. They want to separate from the central bank system. And we know the central bank system, well, they don't want this to happen. And this is the ECB. They don't want the UK to leave. And they're going to try everything and anything they can to stop this from happening. And we know that the system around the world is coming down. And we know the economy is not doing well. And we know eventually what they're going to do is they're going to try to push an event of all events. Now, out in the UK, their security chief is saying that a major cyber attack on the UK is a case of when, not if. Now, what's very funny about that, Janet Napolitano said the same exact thing when she was leaving office, that it's not if, but when there is a cyber attack. Now, once again, we do have a battle going on between the patriots in the Trump administration and the deep state, the cabal, and they're both fighting it out right in front of us. And what's even more interesting about all of this is that we've talked about a major false flag coming. Even QAnon was saying there was a major false flag. Now, once again, I don't know if Q is real. I don't know if it's a man, woman, a group of people, or if this is a psyop. I don't know, but some of the information seems credible. Other parts of the information is kind of strange. And the other thing is, why is this individual putting this out in code? Why don't they just put it out there? It makes no sense to me why they need to put initials, why they have to do this. Just write it out and get it out there. It makes no sense for people having to decipher what is being put out there. It makes no sense at this point. But once again, we can see the deep state and the cabal. I believe they tried a major false flag. Now, why do I say this? In Hawaii, there was an alert that was sent out. We talked about this before. And in the beginning, I thought this was a test because they were going to push a false flag. But more and more information is coming out, and I believe this was actually the event, and the event didn't work. It was stopped. And I believe from this information that a missile was fired at Hawaii, because it's not just a button that you push to send out the alert system. It's a little bit more complex than that. But the reason why I'm saying that is because we've seen some of the same patterns that we saw in other false flags. Now, what's very interesting is that NBC's nightly news crew was granted access to a secure bunker that receives an encrypted call from the USPA CCOM if an airborne missile poses a threat to Hawaii. They were there on the same day, hours before the botched alert. Now, why would you have a news crew there at the same exact time? So, hours before the false alarm sounded with a warning of an inbound missile, there was a news crew who had exclusive access to the bunker where it was sent from. Now, the news crew, if something was going to occur, they were going to film it to show the world. That's why they were there. And what I think happened is the missile, and we're getting reports that this missile was fired from the Guam region, and it was fired towards Hawaii, but it didn't make it. Now, this was not fired by North Korea. This was fired by the intelligence agencies, maybe Israel, we don't know right now. But what's very interesting about this, and this is how I think this was set up, and the missile was not going to hit Hawaii. I think what they wanted it to do was they wanted it to explode outside of Hawaii. The film crew was going to film it to show that, oh, look, and maybe, have the building shake and show the smoke. I don't think it was nuclear. I don't think it was a nuclear warhead. I think it was to scare and to show that North Korea just fired something to try to get us into war. Now, what's very interesting about this, Bill Clinton was on the island of Hawaii at the same exact time. Now, why was he there? Well, he was there because he was meeting with certain individuals, Hawaii state senators, and he was there Friday, January 12th, and he left the 15th, I believe. And what's very interesting about this is he was on the island to show that, hey, I had nothing to do with this. Why would I fire a missile at myself? So it looks like this was a complete setup. I don't think this was a drill. I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was a planned event. And they had the news crews standing by. They wanted to broadcast this all around the world. They wanted to show the missile hitting. They wanted to show the missile exploding in the ocean, and they wanted to put this on every single media outlet to show that someone just fired a missile at the United States. And I think this was completely intercepted. I think it was taken down, and this way they just said it was a mistake, and that's why it lasted so long. And I believe this was one of their main events. This was not a drill. This was not a mistake, because it's just not a big red button there that you just push and say, hey, look what I just did. Or you have the enter key on a keyboard. It's not like that. There's different procedures you have to go through to send out the real message. Confirmations that you have to go through to send out this information. And what we're seeing right now is they are going to try this once again. We've been getting a lot of warnings, like out in Japan. They've been having their missile drills. They've been having their messages being pushed out there. And we're seeing this happen over and over again. And I believe they're going to try to push this once again. And the reason why I think this is because what is happening here? Their systems falling apart. There's investigations going on. They're getting the FISA memo. They're going to be publishing that. They found the lost texts. Their investigations into everything, and the walls are closing in. Yes, there's wet work going on where they're getting rid of those individuals that might be willing to speak about what really happened in different organizations. And I think they need a huge distraction at this time. And I believe that they're going to try again and again and again. And these are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger to distract from what is coming. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.